Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here, we're live. Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure you're following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. That is extremely important that you do that. When you're following me on Telegram, you'll never miss a notification. You don't have to worry about YouTube nonsense. Oh, they unsubscribe me, blah, 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 blah. Telegram at TD Media Group. Link to my Telegrams in the description box below, and will be pinned in the comment section once this stream is over. And with the introduction out the way, man, let's get the show started. Let's get things rolling and on the move. Shout out to my man Papa Anaya Shelley. See, got that Telegram notification. And that's why he's here. I could always count on Papa Anaya Shelley. I know when the Telegram notification went out if he's here. But let's get into this, man. I want to jump into this. I did want to take a moment to talk about this and speak on this topic before the day is over, because there's just so much nonsense that surrounds this. This is a pretty big deal too, right? It's a pretty big deal too, and it'll be an even bigger deal once it hopefully passes through the Senate, fingers crossed, and then gets signed by President Trump, right? DNC lunatics fight bill to stop illegal immigrant voting, despite polls showing voter support. A very common sense issue that just goes over the Democrats' head as it pertains to voter ID, because we all know what they really want. They want illegal immigrants to be able to vote in elections, right? But I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Let's just get into a little bit of this article here. We're not going to be here too long, though. The House passed the Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act on Thursday, which is today, with 208 Democrats voting against the President Donald Trump backed measure that would crack down on non-citizen voting. The SAVE Act, which passed 220 to 208, now heads to the Senate, where it will need the support of some Democrats to meet the 60 vote threshold for advancement. Democrats have rejected the bill despite polling indicating bipartisan support for voter ID requirements. A Gallup poll released ahead of the 2024 election found that a whopping 84% of respondents favored requiring photo ID to vote, and 83% support requiring proof of citizenship when registering to vote for the first time. If passed in the Senate, if passed in the Senate and signed into law by Trump, the SAVE Act by Representative Chip Roy from Texas, Republican from Texas, would require voters to obtain proof of citizenship in person before they register for a federal election. And it would remove non citizens from voter rolls. Who could possibly be opposed to something like this? Clearly, the American people aren't opposed to it. As stated during in the Gallup poll, what is it? 84, 83% of Americans believe that we should have, number one, voter ID if you're going to vote in the first place. And number two, you should require proof of citizenship before you could even register to vote. This is a very common sense issue. But as Amy pointed out here, you can always count on Democrats to vote for what voters do not want. You can always count on Democrats to do that, right? You can always count on them to do that and stand in the way of the democracy that they claim that they were trying to protect pre-election. Find it interesting that they're so against the actual safeguarding of democracy, right? And of course, you know where these guys like to take it. You know, one of the biggest reasons that they're against this kind of stuff is because some way, somehow, this is racist, right? Protecting our democracy by making sure illegal immigrants don't vote in our election is somehow racist to Black people. Go figure. That's DNC logic for you, though. That is DNC logic for you. I want to pull up a couple of video clips, and then we're gonna head on out of here, man. Because, like I said, this isn't. We're not gonna be here too long. But let's just listen to some of this lunacy. Okay, I want to hear some of this nonsense that's been coming out of a lot of people's mouths. We're only gonna listen to about 2, 3 videos tops, though. right? The third video and final video that we're going to listen to at the end of the stream is going to be actually, some common sense, right? Not DNC lunacy. But let's get into this first. Look at this here from Sunny Holston, and let's just listen to this together. It's going to be a little bit difficult to listen to, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. So let me cue it up and let the DNC lunacy begin. just, just looking at her face, like look at the you can see that the lunacy is getting ready to start. Oh man. All right. Let's get into this.
Don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where Black people had to prove their right to vote, and oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women.
That has nothing to do with what's going on now. We're all American citizens. We all have access to being able to get a driver's license, if not just a general ID. What she's talking about from the past has nothing to do with the present day. This is what I've been talking about over and over again over the course of this entire week. Here we go once again, just flippantly, this bastardizing Black history in order to protect illegal immigrants. This time they're trying to protect essentially illegal immigrants' unofficial right to vote, because that's what this is. And they're bastardizing Black history to do this. Let's listen to a little bit of that one more time. Then we're going to just let this goofy video play out.
Slavery laws where they were of, I think, post-slavery laws where Black people had to prove their right to vote, and oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license.
She looks like she doesn't believe what she's saying. Just look at her face while she's talking. Like, why are you like trying not to laugh? It's like she's trying not to laugh. She knows that what she's saying is so ridiculous and so foolish, and she's struggling to come up with examples. Look, is it me, or is she trying not to laugh and not to smile? If this is a serious situation that's racist and sexist and all these other things, what's the smiling and laughing for? Maybe it's just me. Let's look at her facial expressions.
Women that are married, maybe one. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license. So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Right. I mean,
that is a bold face lie. Okay. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the face of a liar. That is a bold-faced lie what this woman just told as it pertains to the democracies and how they conduct themselves, right? Because as you're going to see right here, and we've pulled this up before, I'm not going to read all these countries off, but we'll read a couple of them right now. Look at this here. I mean, this is literally how just about every country in the world operates. Countries with voter ID. Like I said, I'm not going to read all of these off, man. But I mean, look at this here. I mean, Iceland, Sweden, New Zealand, Denmark, Canada, Ireland, Switzerland, Finland, Australia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany, Spain, Israel, Jamaica, Slovakia, Greece, Panama, Peru, Hungary, Colombia, the Ukraine, Bolivia, Turkey, Kenya, Thailand, even Haiti. Shout out to barbecue. Okay. If you don't know who barbecue is, I suggest that you Google Haiti and barbecue. And I'm pretty sure what's going to come up is not food. Okay? It's not going to be food. I'm not going to get into that discussion here as far as barbecue is concerned. I don't know, man. Some people feel like barbecue is a liberator, and some people say that he's just a tyrant that's running the country of Haiti. whichever way you fall on the spectrum concerning, barbecue reigning over Haiti right now as the leader of Haiti, one thing that we do know is that barbecue at least wants fair and balanced elections. Barbecue wants fair elections in Haiti, right? Regardless of what you think and how you feel about him, whether he's a tyrant who took over the country, or he's a liberator. One thing we do know is that barbecue essentially believes in democracy, because before an election in Haiti, guess what? I'm going to need that voter ID. So how are you going to sit here and tell me that even in a place like Haiti, they have voter ID, but we can't have it here because some way, somehow, that's racist? That is completely ridiculous and nonsensical. I mean, go figure. Of all places, Haiti. Shout out to Haiti, man. They even over there, they have voter ID. They have voter ID in Haiti, right? So now what I want to do is that I want to pull this other clip here too, because what she was responding to, and I don't know why I can never remember this guy's name, but then again, I can never remember anybody's name. Somebody gave me a suggestion of what I should do, and it's actually very funny and clever, is to get the soundboard, right, of The Rock. For those of you who used to watch wrestling back in the day when we were children, right? Saying, it doesn't matter what your name is. Whenever I get to a point to where I can't remember somebody's name, I just hit that, sound bite on the soundboard of The Rock saying, it doesn't matter what your name is. I think I'm going to do that. Here it goes. Eli Mistel, right? Let's listen to this here, because this is what she was elaborating on. We've watched this before, but let's just hear this foolishness one more time. And obviously, of course, as usual, he's going to take it to a place of, racism, white supremacy, and, just slavery. We can't have voter ID in 2025 because of, whatever was done post-slavery, right? Back in 18 whatever, right? And I don't say that to be disrespecting history, right? So I just want to make that very clear, So let's get into this ridiculous clip right here.
One of my premises for the book is that every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional, right? But because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Yeah. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. Yeah. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s, like the Immigration and Nationality Act, when they passed our fundamental
That is the wrong clip. Okay. Let's see. Did I played the wrong clip? Hold on just a second. Give me a second. Hold on. I think I confused myself. Did I even play the clip? Wait, hold on just a second. I got too many windows open and too many tabs open.
Premises for the book is that I give a...
Okay, yeah, I have the wrong clip up. So what I'm going to do is this. Give me just a moment. And while I'm sitting here confused, trying to get myself back in order, please take a moment to hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And, follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. Give me just a second. Because I'm thoroughly confused, but I'm going to get myself back in order in a second. Okay, this is what I was looking for. This is the other ridiculous clip. This is what I was looking for. All righty.
Okay, so like what?
Well, we could eliminate all voter registration laws. See, when Democrats get in charge, we try to protect voting rights. We don't make voting easier. Now, I'm all for voter eligibility requirements. We might disagree about what those requirements should be, but I'm going to say that there should be an age limit to vote. I might say 16, you might say 18, but I'm not going to say 8. Right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to agree that there should be voter eligibility requirements. But once you're eligible, why do you have to pre-register? Why is that even a thing? It wasn't a thing in this country at the founding. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1787. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1821. We only started having voter registration, generally speaking, after the Civil War. Why do you think that is? It's because a bunch of freed African slaves were migrating up north, and all of a sudden New York was like, we need some registration up in here, right? A bunch of immigrants from...
These people should be ashamed of themselves. They have absolutely no shame at all whatsoever. no shame at all in bastardizing history the way that they do. Just because something was true 200 years ago doesn't mean that it's true now in 2025. That is crazy.
Registration, generally speaking.
I mean, what do any of you have a hard time? Like, what's the problem with Black folks not being able to get ID? We just can't afford ID? We don't know where the nearest DMV is. I mean, you have literally 2 years to 4 years, depending on which election you're voting in, to get yourself situated. It is not hard. Everybody knows where the local DMV is. Everybody knows where the local DMV is. And, I don't know how much an ID costs, in your state or whatever. But I mean, come on, man. It ain't that expensive. It's not that expensive to get an ID. This is so ridiculous and wildly insulting. It's wildly insulting because you have these Democrats that consistently, speak about Black folks that they apparently care so much about, but they speak to them like they're stupid children, right? They care so much about you. They respect you so much. They want nothing but equity and equality and all this other good stuff. But you're an idiot, right? You're an idiot who needs to be, have your hand held like a child. And you can't even do something as basic as get an ID. You got 2 to 4 years to get yourself situated and get an ID. You got 2 to 4 years to get yourself situated and register to vote. And it doesn't take 2 to 4 years to do these things, obviously, right? But you got 2 to 4 years, depending on which election you're voting in, to get yourself situated and have your proof of citizenship, your social security card. We all have one when you go register to vote. But apparently, we're all just too stupid. We're all too stupid. So it just has to be wide open, and that way, right? Illegal immigrants could come in to vote. But let's finish this off. Did I let this finish playing? He's still talking. Let's let him talk some more.
There should be voter eligibility requirements, but once you're eligible, why do you have to pre-register? Why is that even a thing? It wasn't a thing in this country at the founding. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1787. We didn't have voter pre-registration in 1821. We only started having voter registration, generally speaking, after the Civil War. Why do you think that is? It's because a bunch of freed African slaves were migrating up north, and all of a sudden New York was like, we need some registration up in here, right? A bunch of immigrants from Europe, mainly Ireland and Italy, were coming to New York. People were like, oh, we need some registration in here. If you're eligible to vote, you should be automatically registered to vote, and that is how they do it everywhere else but us. Everywhere else but us either has automatic registration or some other form of forced registration for everybody so that you don't have this disconnect. I'd say 18, but I'm not going to say 8.
That was an accident. I didn't mean to interrupt him, but who cares, right? Because he's an idiot. Because once again, everywhere else from us, what he's leaving out is that everyone else but us also has voter ID. Okay, everybody else but us also has a voter ID. And then let's also never forget to take into consideration the fact that, Kamala Harris won all the states that did not require any form of ID to vote at all, right? No ID. See, we don't have national voter ID, but, in a lot of these states, you do need to have your ID in general, right? You do need ID. But Kamala Harris won all the states that required absolutely no ID. You just walk in, say, hey, my name is TD. They go, you are? You say, yes, I am. And they say, all right, you go ahead right over there and vote for whoever you're going to vote for. And obviously you're going to vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, not me. I'm in California and I voted for Trump. But, it is that simple. I'm TD. Really? Yep. All right. Voting booth is open. No problem. And I'm not legal, but I'm going to vote anyway. This is insanity. This is insanity. But as we bring things to a close, I want to bring in a little common sense, right? That's what I want to do right now. I want to bring in a little common sense. And in closing, let's take a listen to Representative Burgess Owens. How many of you guys are familiar with Representative Burgess Owens? I want to play what he had to say here after this bill was passed in the House, because it's just common sense, man. It's just common sense. So let's take a listen to this now.
Hello, everyone. Burgess Owens here. The House just passed the SAVE Act. Presently, our system is wide open to abuse. Biden let millions through our borders, and now non-citizens are making it to our voter rolls, all while Democrats look the other way. The SAVE Act is simple. If you want to vote in an American election, prove you're an American citizen. Just like we need an ID to drive, to fly, to open a bank account, we should also need proof of the citizenship to vote. What we're hearing from the other side of the aisle is that voter ID is somehow racist, and that's complete nonsense. What's really racist is assuming minorities can't get an ID. It's called the soft bigotry of low expectation and is
The soft bigotry of low expectations. I like that. I'm going to start using that more often. The soft bigotry of low expectations. That's the Democrats written all over it.
Is assuming minorities can't get an ID. It's called the soft bigotry of low expectation. And
how many of you guys remember when Kathy Hochul said that black folks don't know what computers are? This is the governor of New York, for those of you who don't know. I don't remember what that conversation was revolving around, but it's another one of those examples of, what did he say? Soft bigotry of low expectations. Apparently, we don't know, black people, we don't know where any DMVs are. You know, we don't have the money nor the time, even with 2 to 4 years, to get ourselves situated to get an ID. And according to Kathy Hochul, black kids don't know what computers are. They just have no clue. They've never heard of a computer before. You know, these people are nuts.
Racist is assuming minorities can't get an ID. It's called the soft bigotry of low expectation and is extremely insulting. The American people deserve fair, secure, and transparent elections. And this starts only by making sure that only citizens vote. House representatives and Republicans have done our part. Now it's time for the Senate, and particularly Senate Democrats, to step up and finish the job. Send this bill to President Trump's desk.
I think that this bill is going to pass the Senate. I think so. The same way that they broke in the Senate with the spending bill. I don't know about Chuck Schumer, right? If he's gonna, get on board again, but I think that they're gonna bend the knee again, because this is such a common sense issue. All right, when you're talking about 84% of the American U.S. population believe and want it to be a requirement that if you register to vote, you have to show proof of citizenship first. And also on top of that, 83 to 84% of the American people believe that if you vote, voter ID should be required. The House, it seems that in the House, they have a little bit more liberty to be liberal in the House of Representatives for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. They have a little bit more liberty to be, liberal, in terms of their actions, what they do support and what they don't support. But I have noticed, or maybe it's just me, that when it comes down to the Senate, they don't really like to play games like that. They don't like to roll the dice like that. It seems like when it comes to the Senate, they're a little bit more cognizant of what the people want and how they'll look if they don't give in to what the people want. So though, yes, this is a, an agenda item, you could say, of Donald Trump and the Republicans and MAGA, right? Though it is an agenda item of theirs, it's not just an agenda item of theirs. It's an agenda item of the people, you and me. This is what we want. We want voter ID. And we want you to have to actually prove that you're a citizen before you register. And I don't think that those Democrats in the Senate are going to go against that. Like I said, maybe it's just me. You guys might know different or have seen or understand it better. But it seems like in the Senate, they don't really like to take those kind of risks. So we'll see how this pans out moving forward. But I'm actually very confident that this will pass through the Senate, especially given the fact that they were able to pass through the Lake and Riley Act. When the Lake and Riley Act passed through the Senate, I was shocked, right? Because I figured that Democrats would just, do what Democrats do and go up against common sense. And they didn't. They didn't do that. So to me, that was a huge indicator that when it comes to these kind of common sense issues like this, they're not going to have that much of a problem finding Democrats in the Senate that'll help them get this bill passed. But once again, we'll just have to see how it all pans out. But I am actually very confident that it will pan out the way we all want it to, right? And that is with having to identify yourself as an actual citizen upon registering to vote, right? You need to physically show that you're a citizen, social security card, whatever other information in hand. And this is also, once this passed, it'll lay down the foundations for inevitably what will be voter ID. So I'm here for it, can't wait for it. And I'm sure that you all feel the same. Matter of fact, I know that you all feel the same. I bit my tongue just now. And with all that being said, that's going to do it for today's stream. So thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And now let's go through some of these super chats. Okay, let's go through some of these super chats because I don't exist without you guys' support. The support you guys show me is the reason I'm able to get up here and give you guys the information the way that I'm able to do on a daily basis, so it does not go unnoticed and is definitely appreciated. So let's get into it. There are 44 of you watching on X. Please repost this if you're watching me right now live on X, and for those of you who are watching me on Rumble at TD Media Group on Rumble, please hit the like button and subscribe to my Rumble channel if you're not subscribed over there. Let's get into it though. Shout out to my man Cutthroat Ra, formerly known as Cutthroat Nash, who said, "I'm starting to believe the John Lewis Voting Rights Act was a plot to help asylum seekers vote." You are 1,000,000% correct, Cutthroat Ra. You are 1,000,000,000,000% correct. That's what it was always about. That's what it was always about. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act was always about getting asylum seekers to vote. I'm right there with you, man. You spun the block and said, "There's no way Black people are still falling for this." Thank you, Cutthroat Ra. It feels like too many of us are. It is crazy, man. It's just like, how are Black folks still falling for this? How? I'm just gonna keep repeating how. I don't know, man, but it seems to be on some levels very, very effective. It is very annoying. I can't stand it. It drives me crazy. Shout out to my man Saul for coming through as he always does, keeping my family fed. Saul said, "Imagine if aliens can vote. Planned Parenthood wouldn't last long in the barrio." Taking pro-choice away from citizens. That's funny. I appreciate you, Saul, man. Always coming through, showing love to the channel. As well as my man DSB with the super sticker and gifting a channel membership. I appreciate you, DSB, always coming through as you always do. College of Natural Health and Science, BDA, I got you. I got you. I'm not even going to read your super chat. Just, I got you. Okay, hold on just a second. Not even going to read it. Don't even worry about it. College of Natural Health Science, BDA. Don't even worry about it. I got you. Some of you are like, well, what is he talking about? Why he has him? What did you mean by you have College of Natural Health Science, BDA? This is what I'm talking about right here. Okay.
Just to clarify, when is the team?
Soon as possible. Look, I'm still running a major city. I have children who attend schools who have soccer games, y'all. You know, you all are asking me as if I'm not a parent in this city. I get it. I'm mayor. I get it. But you're asking me to give you a date, and I have to court. Do you understand that you have not had a mayor like me? I get that. I have a wife. I have children. They have schedules. And plus, we still have public safety that we have to address. We still have the unhoused that we have to address. I still have a budget that I have to address. And I'm doing all of that with a Black wife raising 3 Black children on the west side of the city of Chicago. I am going to the border as soon as possible. But I got to coordinate that with running the government and making sure that my wife and children are secure as well. Thank you, Lawrence.
And can you?
Guy's such an idiot. College of Natural Health Science BDA said, my black dog has a dark MAGA tag around his neck. That's funny. So for those of you, this is the video. Whenever you guys see College of Natural Health Science BDA, every time, you know, when send me a super chat, they make right by black dog, black hat, black wife, black just like that. This is where that stems from. This is the origin of College of Natural Health Science BDA super chats, where it always starts off with my black dog gets a black that. This was a clip of Brandon Johnson just being Brandon Johnson. You know, he was asked a simple question about, hey, when are you going to go down to the border and see what's going on down there? This was in the midst of the migrant crisis at its peak, right? They said, hey, you know, you haven't visited the border yet. When are you going to visit the border? Brandon Johnson said, I don't have time to visit the border. My wife is black. Okay. I got a black wife and black kids, and I'm raising them on the west side of Chicago. I'll get to the border when I get there, because apparently, you know, having a black wife and black kids, at least for him, is some sort of detriment to him being able to do his job, you know. But that's the origins of College of Natural Health Science BDA comment. I got to create a shortened version of that, though, you know, where it's just audio only and it just kind of gets to it. But I told you I had you. I got you. Shout out to Roger Wood. He said, for a producer, I would love a producer. Oh, man, I would love a producer. I need a couple more of these $2 super chats, like regularly, just coming in like, you know, for me to be able to afford a producer. But I would definitely love to have a producer, man. Jeez, that would be great. But I appreciate the support, man, and looking out for me, you know, putting a little something on the producer. Thank you, Roger Wood. Thank you. DC Precise said, BLR pointed out Sonny is an adoso. We need Terry time. You're gonna get. I think I'm gonna have one tomorrow morning. I think I'm gonna do. So be ready, DC Precise. Be ready. Okay. Be ready for tomorrow morning. All right. Be ready for tomorrow morning. Shout out to Black Americans Come First US. I'm assuming that's like a lot of times on my end when I see US, that's like an American flag emoji. That's what I'm assuming that is. And yeah, see, I'm looking at it on my end now. American flag emoji. Okay, got you. So stated, they just mad because this was the lowest black turnout in modern day history. It was this the lowest black turnout in modern day history? This election? I got to look into that. I didn't know this was the lowest black turnout. That's wild. They just mad because this was the lowest black turnout in modern day history, and now their backup plan is to replace us with illegals. Over. Thank you, Trump. I mean, yeah, man. I didn't know that this was the lowest voter turnout for Black Americans this election. I got to look into that some more, but that wouldn't shock me. That definitely doesn't shock me if that's the case. And yeah, you know, they're definitely trying to, you know, make up for that stuff, you know, for the low turnouts with, you know, having illegal immigrants vote. You know, I think they see going forward that that's really kind of the only way that they can win an election from this point out moving forward. A College of Natural Health Science BDA stated, my black dog thanks you, TD. I told you I had you. I told you I had you. I told you last stream, I said, I promise I'm going to have it queued up and ready for you. And I did. And in closing, I'll play it one more time. But just I'll play it one more time. Let me throw it on for you one more time.
Just to clarify, when is a team
Soon
being
as
sent home?
possible. Look, I'm still running a major city. I have children who attend schools who have soccer games, y'all. You know, you all are asking me as if I'm not a parent in this city. I get it, I'm mayor. I get it, but you're asking me to give you a date, and I have to court. Do you understand that you have not had a mayor like me? I get that. I have a wife, I have children, they have schedules.
They've never had a mayor in Chicago that had to balance work life and personal life. They've never. This is a first. A mayor with a family. That's crazy. Oh man, gotta be so horrible and stressful.
And plus, we
having to go to work and balance your life, your work life with your personal life. That's tough. Imagine that. Can you imagine living like Brandon Johnson and the horror and the stress and the pain that he had? Imagine you have to go to work every day. You got to wake up and go to work every day and balance that out, you know, with your family. I can't imagine.
Still have public safety that we have to address. We still have the unhoused that we have to address. I still have a budget that I have to address. And I'm doing all of that with a black wife raising 3 black children on the west side of the city of Chicago. I am going to the border as soon as possible. But I got to coordinate that with running the government and making sure that my wife and children are secure as well. Thank you, Lawrence.
Can you?
Guy's such an idiot. God. Oh my goodness. College of Natural Health and Science VDA said, you better thank a union member for voter ID. I know that's right.
You better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
You know, you better thank a union member for voter ID. I definitely am. And shout out to Mick007 who said the DNC is done. I'm gonna stand firm on what I've stated a few times over in live streams in the past and videos in the past. If the Republican Party is able to hold strong and keep the trifecta past the midterms, right? If they hold on to the House and Senate past the midterm election, we're looking at a decade of MAGA dominance. Excuse me, I just burped. My apologies. The DNC, they're not winning any election anytime soon for years and years to come. If they're able to do that. If they're able to do that, it's over with. And I actually looked it up not too long ago because I was curious to when was the last time, someone won the presidency with a trifecta and they were able to hold on to the trifecta throughout the entirety of their presidency. And if I remember correctly, it was, I have to sneeze. There we go. I was trying so hard to hold it in. I was trying to thug it out, but I couldn't do it. It was Jimmy Carter, 1977 to 81, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 1977, 1981. It was Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was the last president from 1977 to 1981 to come in with a trifecta and to leave with a trifecta, right? So that's a long time ago that happened. A very, very, very long time ago. And once again, man, I'm sticking firm to that. If Trump is able to hold on to this trifecta throughout the entirety of his presidency, that speaks volumes for what's to come. That means Democrats are finished. They'd have to. It'll take a complete regrouping and a complete breaking down and dismantling of the entire party, and rebuilding it back up again, and making it a more moderate party. That's what they would have to do. And I'm standing tall on that. If that happens, it's over. It's over, and I'm all here for it. Somebody asked me too a while ago, like, what do you think about a third term for Trump? I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I don't care nothing about that. I'll vote for Trump again. He can have a third term. I'm good with that. That's straight with me. My man DSB, I appreciate you, bro. Always showing love to the channel. You said Brandon Johnson and family will never see the White House ever. Wait, what? Brandon Johnson and family will never see the White House ever again. Take a picture of this message, TD. Facts. Yeah, he's never. Well, Brandon Johnson he's done. That guy's one and done. But here's my thing with Brandon Johnson, right? Here's my thing with Brandon Johnson being one and done. It always like really annoys me when people boastfully say Brandon Johnson is a one-term mayor. Like he's just a one-term mayor. He's just a one-term mayor. What irritates me about that is the damage is done already. You know what I mean? Like the guy destroyed the city even more than it already was, right? But Brandon Johnson took a wrecking ball to Chicago, and he's still taking a wrecking ball to Chicago. So when people say like he's just a one-term mayor, like very boastfully, damage done already. So like there's a little boastfulness should be taken out of that statement, right? Because the guy is horrible, and he's completely, like I said, taking a wrecking ball, jackhammer, sludgehammer to the city. And if people of Chicago don't learn their lesson and they keep voting at these DNC lunatics, then I mean the destruction will just simply continue. College of Natural Health Science BDA said, "Bless you, T. I appreciate you. Thank you for that blessing." Said, "Bless you." DSB said, "I repeat, the Democrats are effed." Yeah, man. Yeah, it's over. It's over. And with all that being said, this stream is over too. This stream is over too. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today, man. Thank you so much. It was a good stream. Thank you guys for the support, the support that you guys have showed me on the channel today, and throughout all the other streams. Once again, I don't exist without you guys' support. So thank you guys so much. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms, and always do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. That is so important. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Shout out to those of you watching me on X still. There's more of you now, 64. Okay. Please repost this on X if you haven't already. Do me that solid, man. Like it, the little heart, and then repost it, re-X it, retweet it, whatever it's called now. And shout out to those of you who are watching me on Rumble. And shout out to my man DSB for running it back one more time right before I get out of here. DSB said they so desperate they continue to put Obama out there knowing he's done too. I'm going to talk about that actually, DSB, on the other channel. And for those of you who I make mention of the other channel, but I never tell you what the channel is. That's very deliberate and intentional. And I do it vice versa too. When I'm on my other channel, I don't tell anybody about this channel, because to me and for me, you are where you're supposed to be. If you don't know about the other channel, you're not supposed to know about the other channel. And if you are on the other channel, but you don't know about the main channel, you're not supposed to be on the main channel. Everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be. For some people, that might seem like twisted logic, especially for content creator. Don't you want to? Trust me. Everybody's right where they're supposed to be. But yeah, I'm actually going to talk about Obama and the demise of his popularity. Let me make sure I get my wording right. The demise of his popularity on the other channel tomorrow. So I'll see you over there, DSB. DSB know what the other channel is. He knows where what the other channel name is, but you might not know. And if you don't know, once again, don't worry about it. You're right where you're supposed to be, right here on TD Media Group. So I'll catch you guys later, man. Peace, and have a phenomenal afternoon and evening. Have a good one and a safe one.